This is the In-Flight News, presented for Qantas by the 9 Television Network of Australia.
Hello and welcome to the Morning News. I'm Christian Jantzen. Ahead in this bulletin, a busy night for firefighters tackling blazes in Australia's southeast. A new terror threat ahead of the Winter Olympics. And a star-studded party at the White House as the First Lady turns 50. Well, fire crews in New South Wales have taken advantage of favourable weather conditions overnight to consolidate containment lines. At the time this bulletin was recorded, there were 3 watch and act alerts in place for fires in the Greater Hume area and the Central West. Today's efforts will further focus on consolidating containment lines and continue back-burning efforts. The fires in the Greater Hume have covered a large amount of ground. It's believed that Minimbar blaze was caused by lightning strikes over the weekend. Meanwhile, fires are also burning across other states. In Victoria, there's 6 uncontained fires currently burning, with a watch and act alert in place for a grass fire in Bangor. In South Australia, at least 15 houses have been lost in blazes across the state. 5 fires are burning but are not threatening lives or property. While in Western Australia, a bushfire disaster was averted after a blaze in Perth's northeast was brought under control and contained last night. There's been a new terror threat issued ahead of the Winter Olympics in Russia. A video has been released which appears to show 2 members of a militant group preparing bombs and warning of attacks at the Sochi Olympic Games. These are purportedly the young men involved in 2 deadly blasts that rocked Russia's transport system back in December. It comes as local security forces release footage of their own. They claim it shows a special operation that took place on Saturday in which a number of insurgents died. New reforms are set to go before New South Wales Cabinet today in response to the recent spate of one-punch assaults in Sydney night spots. The new measures include drug and alcohol testing for perpetrators of assaults, but critics say they don't go far enough. It comes after yet another weekend of alcohol-fuelled violence on Sydney streets.
On George Street, the riot squad moves in as a wild brawl erupts outside the Ivy. One after another, police pick off the instigators, ordering the crowd to move on. Further down the road at World Square, another man is hauled away by police.
9 years, I swear. Wait, I'll get the coppers, I swear to God, never done anything.
The 22-year-old charged with assaulting police and resisting arrest. At nearby Haymarket, a 21-year-old man was knocked unconscious after being punched in the face by a stranger, hitting his head as he fell to the ground. Police still hunting his attacker.
Well, he punched me first.
A fight over a taxi left another man with a fractured nose.
Them just being smartasses.
It is frustrating, and alcohol does seem to be a major factor in a lot of these incidents.
The weekend violence reigniting the political blame game.
I think what we're seeing at the moment in Sydney is something of an epidemic.
Premier Barry O'Farrell once again accused of being too soft after taking pub lockouts off the table.
We have a Premier in New South Wales in Barry O'Farrell who's clearly in the bed of the liquor industry, and his announcements so far have been pathetic.
We need to try and prevent as many of the serious consequences, the results of the violence, the glassings, the head injuries that we see, and we need to act now. And if we act now, we will prevent injuries, we will prevent deaths.
California is in desperate need of a heavy downpour as an epic drought takes over the US state. The governor has declared a drought emergency, and locals are doing what they can to save what little water they have.
After flames ripped through the hills, pushing some 3,700 people out of their homes, the last of the evacuees from a raging winter wildfire in the Los Angeles suburbs are coming back home. Officials say 3 campers set the fire, but the flames were fueled by a drought that's extending the fire season and could hit the record books.
I'm declaring a drought emergency in the state of California because we're facing perhaps the worst drought that California has ever seen.
These satellite images of the snow cover in the Sierra Nevadas, which supplies much of the state's water, shows the severity of the drought. At this time last year, snow blanketed the mountains. Today, barely a thin strip of white coating the Sierras. Water worries prompting this Northern California coffee house to swap out dishes for paper plates.
switching to paper products has eliminated a lot of use in the water.
Drought now covering 2/3 of the state, including Black Butte Lake in Northern California, where there's no water, just bare parched land, and low water levels at Folsom Lake near Sacramento, sparking search crews to look for remnants of a 1965 plane crash. So far, no signs of the wreckage.
A US driver who was attacked by bikies in an infamous road rage attack is taking legal action over the incident. Video of the terrifying clash was broadcast around the world, and the family involved is now suing New York City.
An entire nation watched in horror as Alexian Leon, his wife, and 2-year-old child were chased by a group of bikers. Then Leon dragged from his SUV and beaten. Now the 33-year-old banker is fighting back, filing a legal notice on behalf of his family, saying he intends to sue New York City and 2 off-duty police officers.
This document filed is putting the city of New York on notice of an impending lawsuit.
The document filed on December 24th accuses the city of, quote, failure to adequately train, supervise, monitor, and/or discipline police officers. The Leons are seeking to recover damages in excess of $75,000 for each family member. One of the officers named, off-duty undercover detective Wojciech Braszczak, allegedly part of a group seen attacking the Range Rover. He pleaded not guilty.
Even if these 2 police officers are deemed to have been off duty at the time of the incident, the city can still be held liable.
The now infamous chain of events caught on helmet cam begins with an apparent accident between Leon and one of the motorcyclists. The group then surrounds Leon, and someone slashes his tire. Terrified, he makes a break for it, crushing biker Edwin Miesis with his Range Rover, leaving the rapper and father of 2 paralyzed.
Labor has attacked the government for considering a new fee on GP visits to ease pressures on Medicare. But advocates say a $6 flat fee will make doctors think twice before making false claims. After it was revealed, some have been rorting the Medicare system.
It's our universal healthcare system, looking after all Australians. But the Medicare watchdog has found some doctors are using and abusing it. 19 GPs have been ordered to repay $1 million for overclaiming. One doctor was caught claiming rebates for more than 200 patients in a day over several days, even claiming to see 500 in one day. A report by the Professional Services Review states the practitioner assured PSR that each of these patients had been eyeballed.
We've got 120 million claims paid every year. It's a very small number of individuals involved in this.
Terry Barnes is a former health advisor to Tony Abbott. He wants patients to pay a flat rate of $6 for all visits to the doctor. He says bulk billing tempts some doctors to abuse Medicare because it's not their patients who are paying for the consultation.
Medicare rorting is thievery. It is basically common theft.
The Australian Medical Association believes charging patients isn't the answer.
We have a professional services review process which is working. That's why these individuals were detected.
It believes a $6 co-payment would put more pressure on hospitals and emergency rooms.
People may decide not to go to the doctor at all, which would be terrible.
It will make people ask questions twice of themselves as to whether they need to go to the doctor and why they need to go to the doctor.
The government says it hasn't considered a co-payment, but its Commission of Audit is looking at it. And all the Commission's recommendations will be on the table. Kerry Yaxley, 9 News.
A prison escapee on the run in Perth since Friday has been recaptured. Police swooped on Bradley McIntosh Narrier yesterday afternoon, ending his crime spree.
He's injured and in pain, but finally back in police custody. In the hours leading to his arrest, Bradley McIntosh Narrier led a crime spree across our eastern suburbs. It started at 10:30 in Kelmscott. The escapee stole Jeff Hill's Subaru while he was metres away.
Unbelievably brazen. Unbelievably.
2 hours later, police tried to pull him over in Armidale, but he took off. The 27-year-old then abandoned the Subaru for a Jeep, but crashed that into a pool. That's when police swooped.
I didn't know what was going on and I went out the back and there was police everywhere with guns drawn.
But McIntosh Narrier kept running, hiding next door.
But I heard the woman scream, "Get out of my house!"
Bradley McIntosh Narrier locked a woman out of her house, then tried to steal her car.
Lucky enough he couldn't get our roller door up, and the police have surrounded the place and they've come in and grabbed him from inside.
Bradley McIntosh Narry's been on the run since Friday when he smashed his way out of a toilet cubicle at Joondalup Hospital and allegedly carjacked this Toyota RAV4 from the car park. He's the third prisoner to escape custody in 2 weeks. It's put Serco, the government service provider, under the spotlight. A week ago, 3 men also escaped from the Serco-managed Immigration Detention Centre in Northam. 2 were captured, but 1's still on the run. Alicia Kennedy, 9 News.
It's been a horror weekend off the Victorian coast with 1 man drowned and another missing in 2 separate boating accidents. 1 fisherman was winched to safety at Sandy Point, but it was too late to save another man.
A tragic day at sea, 1 man missing, another dead. The drama began at Sandy Point when a fishing boat overturned, throwing 2 men into the rough water. A 64-year-old Cranbourne Southman drowned, another in his 30s winched to safety, suffering hypothermia. It's unclear if either were wearing life jackets.
The waves swamped the boat, broke the windscreen and possibly put the motor out, which then leaves them with very little control when the rest of the waves hit.
The 2 men took off from Shallow Inlet before capsizing 200 metres southeast of the entrance around 8 o'clock. The younger man from Yarram is now in hospital in a stable condition. Meanwhile, at Kilcunda, a dramatic search and rescue operation underway to find a missing 37-year-old fisherman from Croydon Hills. His boat was found washed up on the rocky shoreline. His father visited the scene, comforted by police.
It's absolute tragedy, and just a reminder that, please let people know where you're going to be when you go out on the water.
The man launched from Newhaven on Phillip Island around 3:30 yesterday afternoon. 12 hours later, an emergency signal was detected from the fisherman's boat off Kilcunda. From down here on the rocks, it just gives you an idea how treacherous this coastline can be, and with the added nighttime factor, chances of survival drop dramatically.
It's a search for someone who's a survivor, and we're hoping that he is somewhere.
Dougal Beattie, 9 News.
Well, Brisbane is on track to record its best tourism season in a decade. Near perfect weather and an increased profile have combined to help bring Queensland's capital out of the tourism shadow of the Gold Coast.
In the River City, business on the water is booming.
It's been our best 12 months on record, so we've been in operation for about 10 years now. Over the last winter and summer, it's been incredible. I couldn't imagine the growth.
River Life Adventures is a poster child for Brisbane tourism, riding a resurgent wave, expanding and innovating to cope with increased demand.
In the last year, with the growth that we've had, we've been putting on more staff probably every 3 months.
Improved weather and better exchange rates has tourist numbers up across Queensland, but Brisbane is now managing to retain those it once lost.
It is in itself really a lovely place. This river, which you see behind you here, South Bank, perfect.
And perfect news for the many retailers who survive on holiday dollars.
It's good to see a lot of people coming through the doors, estimating about 1,000 a week, which is pretty good.
I've noticed a dramatic increase in people coming through and more tourists, and people are sort of spending more, and generally it's a really good feel.
Big events like the Ashes Tour have provided a boost, but 2014 will deliver major events, none bigger than the G20 summit. During the G20, the world spotlight will be fixed brightly here on Brisbane, and the international exposure that will provide could help set all new benchmarks for local tourism. It may also provide a new tourism ambassador.
Look, if we can get the President of the United States down here on a kayak, I'd be thrilled.
Joel Dry, 9 News.
The royal family has taken a significant step towards Prince Charles becoming king. It's been revealed the Prince's communications team will merge with the Queen's to coordinate public activities. The move will see Charles's aide become the media chief for the entire royal household. Royal experts claim it's an indication the Prince is gradually preparing to take the throne.
I think what we're seeing is a gradual handover. Of course, the Queen is going to stay in the job until she dies. That's what she said. She wants to stay there. She will never abdicate. But we are being given the chance to get to know Charles.
He'll also join his mother for a trip to France later this year. It's believed the trip will be the Queen's last foreign visit. Well, no doubt there's some sore heads in Hollywood today as stars recover from a night of partying. The Screen Actors Guild has dished out its awards, painting a clear picture of which celebrities are likely to take home Oscars.
Thank you.
After American Hustle's Cast won last night, Jennifer Lawrence was not hustled into partying at her house.
Nobody's coming over. My thing is I go to these and then I go home and I order takeout and by myself or with a friend, and nobody's crashing that as much as I love you guys.
Your friends right now, not later, okay?
Yeah.
Stay in your own home.
Yeah.
I'll totally be over
No. Tomorrow I'll love them. You guys come over tomorrow.
Matthew McConaughey and Jared Leto both won for Dallas Buyers Club.
This little movie that we made for less than $5 million for 25 days, I'm very proud.
To my mother, who is here, the hottest date in town, thank you for giving me such a shining and wonderful example of the possibilities of life.
Who do you want to call first? You have your mom here. Is there anyone you're dying to pick up the phone and say, oh my gosh?
Well, the great thing is when you win, you know, social media takes care of the calls. You don't have to do anything.
Oh my gosh, what a way to go out in style.
The final season of Breaking Bad earned SAG Awards for the cast and their star, Bryan Cranston.
I want a SAG Award.
Before you came in here, I said my highlight of my whole day was meeting you.
I'm Sarah from Good Morning America. I know who you are.
Thanks a lot.
Oh my God.
Thanks a lot. That makes me feel
Sorry,
really
here,
good.
wait. Can you just step over
Sorry,
here?
I hear something.
Modern Family won Comedy Ensemble, with Sofia Vergara thanking all who made it possible.
To my boobs. No.
This is such a pleasure and so exciting because I think a lot of us didn't see it coming.
Their co-star, Ty Burrell, also won Male Actor in a Comedy Series.
He's very humble.
Yeah.
This is not him just putting on an act. This is actually him.
On the red carpet, autograph hounds screamed for their favorite stars. Oprah even played photographer. Emma Thompson photobombed 12 Years a Slave actress Lupita Nyong'o. Later, backstage, winners posed with their 12-pound statues.
He's really heavy, so he might become part of my workout regime.
I can already see the bicep curls.
Yeah, I'll just have one really strong arm.
Well, stars of The Bachelor are used to being in the spotlight, but the newest face of the US hit reality show has become the centre of attention for the wrong reason. He's made some controversial comments about gay people and has now taken to Facebook to explain himself.
At 32 years old, Juan Pablo Galaviz has the opportunity so many men dream of, finding his match on ABC's The Bachelor. The former professional soccer player, the first Latino bachelor. But now, his comments to a reporter Friday night are under fire. Listen.
Do you think it would be a good idea at some point to have a gay or bisexual bachelor?
No.
Why not?
Just because I respect them, but honestly, I don't think it's a good example for kids to watch that on TV.
And just seconds later, using the word pervert while talking about the possibility of an all-gay version of The Bachelor.
And there's this thing about gay people that it seems to me, you know, I don't know if I'm mistaken or not. I met great, you know, I have a lot of friends like that, but they're more pervert in a sense. And to me, the show will be too strong, too hard to watch on TV.
All you have to do is watch the news and see what kind of trouble people get in for homophobic comments, and you should be smart enough to ignore it.
ABC and the production company Warner Horizon responding with this statement. Juan Pablo's comments were careless, thoughtless, and insensitive, and in no way reflect the views of the network, the show's producers, or studio.
Hi, girls.
Juan Pablo turned to Facebook to apologize himself, writing, "The word pervert was not what I meant to say, and I am very sorry about it. Everyone knows English is my second language, and sometimes I use the wrong words to express myself. What I meant to say was that gay people are more affectionate and intense, and for a segment of the TV audience, this would be too racy to accept."
Well, there were speeches, there was dancing, and best of all, there was Beyonce. First Lady Michelle Obama has celebrated her 50th birthday with a party at the White House, and stars have revealed just what went on behind closed doors at the very private event.
Samuel L. Jackson, James Taylor, Rachel Ray, just a few partiers at Michelle Obama's Big 5-0. Even BFF Beyonce, who sang at Obama's first inauguration, gave Michelle a personal birthday performance.
And then Beyonce performed, and wow.
Obama made sure to make Michelle's day perfect, announcing during a recent bill signing,
"I've got to get back because somebody's having a birthday today."
And guests could not stop talking about Obama's very emotional speech about his First Lady.
Moving and inspiring.
Talking about her love for her daughters.
It's really beautiful and really touching.
Overnight, the White House was bumping.
I'm definitely dancing. I'm gonna have a good time.
Big question for the VIP list, what gift do you get her?
You don't. You just go and be there with her. That's all you do.
But 1 year older, she still knows how to get down and party, now with VIP access to a new kind of club. Tweeting, excited to join Barack in the 50+ club today. Check out my AARP card.
This was no ordinary 50th birthday party. The Obamas are known for having over-the-top bashes, and Michelle's 50th birthday was no different.
From breaking it down with Jimmy Fallon to busting out the dance moves for her Let's Move campaign, we know Michelle can't help but party to the beat.
They just told people to bring their comfortable shoes, so you can be sure everyone was dancing until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, pretty sure that would have been a big night. Let's look at sport now, and Australia's partying too. They're eyeing off another whitewash of England after taking an unbeatable 3-0 series lead in last night's third one-day international. Now, tensions flared early when Owen Morgan refused to walk over a Dan Christian catch. Set 243 for victory, Dave Warner and Sean Marsh led the way for the hosts, who cruised to a 7-wicket win.
We have a goal to become a better one-day team and to get back to being #1 in the world, and we're not there. We know we can certainly improve in all facets of the game.
Alistair Cook says he'll now reconsider his captaincy.
I'm going to have to make a decision on that stuff after you take stock of the next 2 games, and we'll sit down and talk with a lot of things. I think there'll be some changes.
The Aussies will rest Michael Clarke for Friday's 4th match in Perth. Casey Dellacqua's dream run at the Australian Open has come to an end, falling to Canadian Eugenie Bouchard in the 4th round last night. The Aussie managed to claim the first set, but from then on, it was all Bouchard.
Casey Dellacqua had already equalled her best performance at a Grand Slam, but was looking to go one better with a quarter-final appearance, and it seemed luck was on the Aussies' side early.
Oh dear.
Mum and Nan could barely watch a seesawing first set, but there was plenty to cheer about as Dellacqua claimed it in a tense tie-break.
Oh, she's got it.
Rather than falter under the pressure, Bouchard showed composure beyond her years to send the match into a decider.
So we're now level at 1 set apiece.
From there, the Canadian didn't look back. Dellacqua her own worst enemy with a string of unforced errors, Bouchard dropping just 10 points in a 6-love third set.
What a moment for the 19-year-old.
She'll now face Anna Ivanovic following her upset win over world #1 Serena Williams earlier in the day. Stanislas Wawrinka faces a similar challenge to upset Novak Djokovic, the 8th seed booking his quarter-final spot with a straight sets win over Tommy Robredo.
Novak, we all know how good he is, especially in Grand Slam. It's tough to beat him. I didn't find a solution yet, but still trying.
Andrew Smith, 9 News.
Adelaide are refusing to label themselves as genuine A-League Championship contenders despite claiming the big scalp of the Western Sydney Wanderers yesterday. The 1-0 result came after their win over ladder leaders Brisbane last week.
There are 12 more games and we need to work hard these 12 games, every single game, and in the end we will see where we are.
The result saw the Reds rise from 9th to 5th on the table. The competitors for this year's Tour Down Under warmed up for Tuesday's main event with the People's Choice Classic in Adelaide last night. German sprint king Marcel Kittel won the race around the 50-kilometre street circuit, while rising Australian star Caleb Ewan finished 3rd. There were also a few spills, with Italian star Giovanni Visconti taken to hospital with a broken leg. And nasty indeed. Now, coming up after the break, we've got all the finance and weather details in Australia and around the world. Well, taking a look at the international market numbers now in Australia, the All Ords closed down 2 points. Japan's Nikkei is also down. Hong Kong's Hang Seng gained 146 points. And Britain's FTSE is also stronger. To the US, the Dow Jones is up 41 points, the Nasdaq down 21. To commodities, gold is stronger. Oil's trading at $94 a barrel. Let's look at the currency markets. The US dollar is mostly weaker. It's buying 73 euro cents. And looking at the euro, it's stronger across the board, buying 82 British pence. While the Aussie dollar is also stronger, it's buying 87 cents. Well, just recapping our main stories, and crews battling bushfires in New South Wales have worked through the night to strengthen containment lines. And a new terror threat has emerged ahead of the Winter Olympics in Russia. A video has been released of two purported members of a militant group warning of attacks at the Games. Well, let's look at the weather forecast around the world now. Let's start in Australia. Cairns fine and 33, Brisbane 34, Sydney 26, bit of cloud, Canberra 26, Melbourne 24, Hobart a top of 22, warm in Adelaide and Perth, very warm in Alice Springs 34 with some storms along with Broome and Darwin, Auckland 23, Wellington a top of 19, Christchurch 18. Moving on to the United States, chilly one in New York, 4 degrees. Not so much in Honolulu. Lovely day, 27. South America, Santiago, 31 and fine. Dubai, cloudy and a top of 21 degrees. Moving on to Europe, London, 4. Paris, a top of 8. Madrid, 7. Showers and storms in Rome, 14. Johannesburg in South Africa, a top of 31 degrees and storms as well. Bangkok, 29. Manila, some showers, 29. Singapore, warm and 31. Same temperature as Jakarta. Seoul, a chilly 2 degrees, Tokyo 8 and cloudy, Shanghai 9 and Hong Kong a fine day and 19 degrees. Well, that's the morning news, finance and sport. I'm Christian Jantzen. Have a great day.
This has been 9 News, brought to you by Qantas.